Hello, my name is Danielle, and I'm going to be giving my discussion video. Just a disclaimer, my mom is going to be reading the questions for me because I can't really remember all of them because it's about 5 or 4 questions. So I just kind of need your help with reading the questions for me. Okay, first question.
Summarize the main strategy discussed in the video for analyzing an audience before a public speaker engagement.
So 4 of the main points that the gentleman in the video listed were audience disposition, audience questions, gather information, and hit the center. We're going to be talking about audience questions first. Here he mentioned knowing the demographic of your audience, such as, professions, ages, genders, or just general interest at all. Or he also mentioned questions that the audience might be asking themselves, such as, why am I here? Why am I listening to this? What am I going to gain from this? Just kind of things that even I myself, when people are presenting, asking okay, but how does this help me? Sometimes I do think of that when people are presenting. That's basically what the gentleman talked about, just kind of trying to know your audience so that things stick to them better. An example he gave were that he was speaking to a group of nurses. Since he knew the demographic of his audience, he knew how to present his message better so that it would stick better to them, so that he could really just basically present his message. And since he knew there were nurses, it was easier for him because he knew that demographic. Next one I'm going to be talking about is the second one, audience disposition. This basically talks about their interest level, attitude, and knowledge towards the subject. An example would be if you're giving a presentation to vets, then, some vets might be more experienced than others. So that might contribute to their knowledge level. Some more experienced vets might be a little bored during your presentation because they're like, well, we already learned this. So this is not new to us at all. It's not interesting to them. And, you want it to be engaging to your whole audience. You also want to talk about their attitude. Your attitude might consist of, do they care about this? Because if me, because I use the vet because I really like animals. So if I'm in a presentation that's about animals, my attitude towards the presentation will be generally more positive because I want to be a vet. So that's towards my interest. But say I have a friend and she's not interested in animals, she's not going to be more interested in that presentation because it's not suited towards her. So of course, that's her attitude. Now that presentation would be more negative or more neutral and just less focused. The last thing I want to talk about audience disposition is their general interests. Now, which I kind of basically just talked about, like me being interested in animals. So I basically finished the audience disposition. But the next one is gather information. He also made a really good point. If you're going to give a presentation or a speech or whatever you're speaking to in your audience, you should kind of talk to them a few weeks before. Not even a few weeks, just maybe a few days or probably a few weeks, giving surveys or questionnaires just so they can know about it. Like I said before, if someone is more experienced about something and you're trying to teach that to them, it's like trying to teach a teacher a subject they already know. It's like me trying to teach my English teacher how to write an essay. He already knows about that. He's not going to pay attention to that. So you kind of want to know your audience before ahead of time, know what they know so that you can suit your presentation more. Because if they're not beginners, you don't have to give them beginner level information. Also, if, like the guy said in the video, he had a government class that he was going to give a speech to. He talked to the person who wanted to give him the speech so that he can gain all the information and knowledge about the class as possible, as much as possible, so that he knows how to better stick the message of his video. The last thing I want to talk about is hit the center. After you do all those 3 steps that I mentioned, such as audience question, audience disposition, and gather information, you can now do the last thing, which is hit the center. This is basically rewriting your speech or presentation or whatever you are doing to fit the audience so that they can kind of understand it better. Basically just tailoring it to your audience. Those are the 4 points. Next question.
Last question. Share your personal insight and what you gained from the video and how you want to implement this in your future.
My personal insight on the video is that it's very helpful to me because I'm giving as you guys know, we're giving our speeches Thursday, and I can use this because I know the demographic of my audience. I know their ages, I know the genders, and I know what they tend to focus more on in presentations. So I can actually use this, and by putting, because when people present, I tend to like good laughs out of it. So when I present, I know I can put more jokes in there, and I know that my classmates will be more focused because it's funny to them, because I know that is what appeals to my generation. So that this video can help me because I now know the demographic of my audience, so I can use that to work with me to stick my message better. That was all. Thank you.